Hey guys, today we're going to talk about places to hold your events for your direct sales business. And there's some fun ones and there's some ones that you should have been using forever ago. So no more excuses if you have nowhere to share the word about the products that you have because you know you love them or else you wouldn't be with that company. Am I right? So if you like what you hear, then please subscribe down below and do the notifications so that you know when our videos go live every Thursday. And without further ado, let's get into it. Today I wanted to talk to you about vending in person. Okay, so when you want to, I know I'm usually online and do stuff online, but hey, I'm a marketing strategist, so you got to do all different angles, and it depends on what your strength is, right? Maybe you're in-person person, and maybe online isn't your thing because you don't really know how to connect to them if they're not right in front of your face. So where are some great places to vend? You might think vending, so you might think like, oh, it has to be like a fair or an event or, you know, like a arts and crafts thing. And it doesn't. Those are great places. But most of those, I shouldn't say most, craft fairs aren't going to take you because you're not a small business and you're not handmade, which you're not handmade. So I get that. And so it just depends. Some new ones, there's so many, you know, network marketing companies and they do need the money for the booth fees. So they do allow most of the times a certain amount of network marketing companies to come, and they limit it to one per company, which is cool because then you don't have doubles, right? So that's a good thing. So that's just one way to do that. But I'm talking more in this video, not so much that, but maybe like a weekly meeting that you hold. And this is really great because what if you just showed up once a week, right? And maybe no one comes. Maybe one person comes, maybe two. But if you start showing up every week, it's bound to grow, right? If you show up and you're consistent and you're bringing value to the people that do come, and maybe you give incentives and things like that, you could really create a snowball effect because they know where to find you, right? And they get used to that. And it really does work. I used to have a store in the mall, and I was in the store, I had it for 6 months, okay? And I decided that it was too much. It was just me working there, and it was way too much. And so I was like, okay, I'm good. I'm done. I got tons of business, tons of leads. And so I left. And people were so upset when I left that I wasn't there anymore, that they couldn't, like they came and it was like, well, where'd she go? And I get that because at the store and you think that it'll always be there. So that was like reinforcement that they might not have bought from me consistently, but they thought that I was going to be there. They wanted me to be there. They're like, I needed her and she wasn't there, kind of a thing. So if you have that space, and I'm not saying to open up a store, that's a lot. That's a lot of work. That's a lot of overhead. And that's the whole point of being a network marketer, that you have very little overhead, right? So I don't recommend that unless you like do it all as a team or something like that fun where people are actually contributing. That's what I tried to do, you know, but it didn't work out like that. So where do you do this? And some of these places might surprise you, right? There's some maybe you've never heard of, and some maybe you didn't think of, or maybe some you have done, and maybe, you know, you haven't looked at how to do it yourself. So some of like the old school ones are halls. So like a church, most churches have rooms, and churches always need money. And so it's really easy to get a room at a church most of the time, especially if you're a member of the church or if you have a friend that's a member of the church, you could slide on into a room. I've seen people where the church doesn't charge them anything because they're a member of the church, and so they're just trying to help them out. And so they let them use the room for free. I've seen it where you pay like $20, you pay $40. So that's one thing. Another one that is sometimes free and sometimes it's like $20 to $30 is a library. A public library. Most public libraries have a room for meetings. You can rent that, right? That's another one. This one might really surprise you, and probably not a lot of them because this is the first one I've ever seen, but I thought it was so cool. In my supermarket, there's a meeting room. It's a really nice one too. It has like a long conference table, a TV. It's perfect to teach classes and to get people in or to teach about the opportunity. It is absolutely perfect. So that's an option. There's places all over the place, okay? So that's something that's cool that's there. Your mall, most malls have a conference room. You can rent that out. That one is usually more expensive because usually they're bigger rooms. Along with the bigger rooms, you could do hotels. I used to know a Mary Kay lady that every Wednesday, rain or shine or snow or everything, there was a makeup thing at this hotel in one of the smaller rooms every Wednesday. And she would expect sometimes, I'd say the most people she would get in there on a regular thing was 10 people. And that's it. But it created this amazing environment where whoever she brought into the business, she already established a meeting every Wednesday. So she invited people, but also the new people to the business, they got to invite people. And it wasn't like, oh, it's at this house at this time and you know, this and that. No, it was, hey, every Wednesday we have this makeover. And it's only like an hour. You get to do like try on the products and have fun. And at the end, if you want anything, you could buy it. If not, you go home and you know, have a facial or blah, 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 right? And it was great because new people, they didn't even have to have the stress of like, oh my God, I have to have an event. I have to do this, I have that. It was already set in motion. And so people were just able to, you know, corral people there. They knew it was going to be Wednesday and they knew it was going to be at 7 every Wednesday or whatever and where it was. So there was no stress of creating events. There was no stress of anything. It was just there. So that's a really awesome deal, right? And like I said, for her, 10 was a good show up, right? You don't have to have a zillion people show up to make it this huge thing. Now I want to get into more like techie ones, okay? So these are kind of my favorite. I like using them. They're a little bit more expensive, but they're fancier. And I like fancy and pretty, and you could multi-purpose them and do it. I usually do these because when I travel, I hold courses, classes, workshops, events where I go places. I love to travel, and I want some of that to be written off, right? So I'm not in that community, so I don't really know like the church and that kind of stuff. So what do I do, right? So there's all these new things that are online that are amazing. And the first one that I was introduced to was Breather, and Breather is pretty cool. You rent by the hour, and so it's a wide variety. I've been to ones where it's just a Breather office, and they're all different types. People rent them for conferences or for meetings or for photo shoots because they're really pretty rooms. They're set up very nicely. They're very cute. They're awesome to get photos in. But I've also been to ones where it's a legit office, which that one, to tell you the truth, it made me uncomfortable. It was a law office in Boston that I rented out, and I didn't know that when I got there. They give you the passcode, you get in, and so the law office was closed already, and when I went in, I basically had access to everything. So it kind of scared me because I was responsible for everything, right? And so that one wasn't my favorite. So I recommend if you're doing those types of things, if you're renting a room, like within an office, that's not just straight to the room. I don't know. I don't like it. You can, they were very trustworthy, but it made me uncomfortable. But like I said, the other ones I've rented, it's just you enter the room and then it's the whole room, right? It is in a building, but it's like an office building where there's other offices and stuff like that. But the law office one was really beautiful. It was cute and beautiful and nice location, perfect location in Boston. So that was just something. But so there's Breather, right? With that, there's different ones that are same with Breather. So if you Google Breather, more will come up, and they have them in different cities. But Breather, from what I've researched, is the most widely dispersed one so far. They're in all the major cities, and they're starting to get in the smaller ones. And so that's an option. Another one is a co-working space. So if you live in a semi-big city, they're getting to the little ones now too. If you have a co-working space, most of the time they have a conference room. So a lot of co-working spaces, you can rent the conference room and not be a part of the co-working space. Some of them you do have to be a member, which is awesome. I recommend it if you don't do that. It's another way to network. But we're talking about the other stuff. So like WeWork, if you're a member, you could use the conference room as part of your hours. And there's lots of other ones where you have access to the conference room. And so that's really great to have. And what I like about those ones, like the Breather ones, those ones are, it's just, you're dealing with a computer, right? So let's say you want to do the weekly thing. You might have to book out a lot in advance. The cool thing is that with Breather, you could cancel within 2 hours of your event. So like if you have an event and you're really trying and you're trying and trying and then no one comes, or maybe one or two, and you just don't want to, you could cancel and you don't get charged. So sorry, that was a side note that I remembered. So with the co-working spaces, you might be able to like be like, hey, I need that conference room every Wednesday at 8. And they might be able, they might be more susceptible to be like, okay, you could do that. Yeah, we'll just pen you in. And so that's a plus, right? There's some places that I want this and I want that. So it's easier to do like a every week type of a thing there if you want to. Another one that might not be on anybody's minds, but I don't know if you've ever been to like IHOP or Denny's and seen a meeting going on. That one's one that not a lot of people utilize. Most Denny's and IHOPs and Coco's and stuff, you could like separate one of the rooms. And that one's kind of cool if you don't have stuff that smells, because they could eat, right? So you could have like a specified menu, especially if it's going to be an every week thing or maybe once a month thing. You can get them on board. You can get the restaurant on board. Be like, hey, what if we offer, 5 different items for them to pick from, and we have this price, right? They'll do it because, especially if you pick a time, maybe it's not the busiest for them, because you don't want it super loud anyways, and they don't want to deal with a bunch of people, then that could help you as well. So I highly recommend that. Another one is rec centers, right? Some rec centers, you could hold events and do stuff like that, or schools, maybe after hours, especially private schools, because they don't have to do all the crazy regulation with the cities and the states and everything. Private schools, I'm telling you, they're always looking for more money. So if you tell them, hey, I want to rent this room at this time every week, they might be susceptible to it, right? So I hope this helps you guys. You know I love marketing online. You know I love bringing people in online, but there's something about meeting them in person, right? There's an easier turnover rate. And if you get this skill down, it shows that you're reliable, right? Because you're there. I feel like this is a strong way to get people and to get consultants into your business, because they see that not how easy it is, because we've talked about it so many times that this isn't easy, but it gives them a head start, let's say, right? Because you already have that thing going on, like I said with the Mary Kay lady. You have something in place for them, so it really helps them. So I hope that helps, right? Let's start doing some in-person events and getting you and your company and your business to grow, right? So if you need any more tips and tricks, or you want to join the conversation, head over to our Facebook group. The link's down below, and I hope that this was helpful to you. Thanks for sticking around to the end to find out where to hold your events for your direct sales business. I hope that was helpful. All the places I love. I think my favorite's the Breather one, because they look so nice. So you could even do like a photo shoot there. That's my favorite part of them. And they're just set up for perfection. So I hope that was helpful. Don't forget that I have a weekly live masterclass with every week. It goes over something else that is going to help you build your direct sales business online. So the link's down below. Thank you so much for coming by. Don't forget to subscribe. Do the notifications so you know when our videos go live every Thursday. Thanks so much.